rendez-vous aujourd'hui avec Brandon de Monster Truck en direct du Zénith pour la première partie de Slash ce soir. Brandon, nice to see you. Pleasure.
Toi aussi, mon plaisir aussi.
Tonight you played yesterday night in the Zenith with Slash.
Oui.
You will play tonight. First question, just how is it for you to play in that kind of area, kind of room? I know you used to play in different kind of room. So what is the atmosphere you can feel?
It's the atmosphere of these kind of shows, and kind of any show, it all depends on the fans. And the fans for Slash are very excited, and so sometimes we feel the same way in a small club. But sometimes these big ones, we've done some big shows that don't have the atmosphere because people are not as excited. So, but these ones are very special. It's the crowd in Slash doesn't come around very much, so he's here. Everyone's really excited, and so we're excited.
Great. So I will focus on Monster Truck for sure. All this rocky, furious, big attention Monster Truck has been created, and how did you make each other?
Well, me and Jeremy, we were in two separate bands back, let's say maybe 7 or 8 years ago, and our two bands would play together pretty often. We were kind of punk bands, pop bands, a little bit of rock, but we were the side men in the bands. We didn't write the songs really, and so we played together. We became friends, and we lived close to each other in Hamilton. And we were hanging out, and then Steve became the drummer of that band that Jeremy was in. And John was always friends with Jeremy growing up, and Jerry always wanted to be in a band with John because he has a big loud voice. And one night they were just hanging out at a party, all three of them, I wasn't at this, and somebody had the idea of calling the band Monster Truck. Steve used to have a van that was dirty, rickety old van. It was really loud, had a loud muffler, and so they would call it the Monster Truck. And then somebody was saying, this would be a great name for a band. And then they started talking at the party, and we should have a loud rock band, because we all love classic rock, and we never played that in our other bands. And then, so they saying, yeah, do you want to do it? There we go, sure, yes. And then John said, well, we need an organ, we need a rock organ. And Jerry's like, well, I know just the guy. And he called me up the next day, and I think we started to jam 2 days after that, and then that was it.
History starts.
Yeah, it was just for fun at first. We never intended to play big concerts, go on tour. It was just to satisfy us wanting to play rock and roll. And then a couple of years of doing that, the industry people, our manager, started to come around and say, guys, let's do this. And we said, wait a minute, this is for fun. If we do it as a business, it won't be fun anymore. So we tried to mix the two of them together, and things started happening, and everybody started to feel the fun that we were having.
By the time being, you're 100% involved in your music. Your life is focused on music.
Absolutely. It's been about 2 years now that this has been our job, where we haven't had to work otherwise, but all throughout that 2 years we get busier and busier and keep getting lots of tours, and we put out our album Curiosity a year and a half ago, so a pretty long time, and it just keeps going and going, so we're into it now. Yeah, there's no stopping.
Powerful Music, you talked about it. Your first studio album has been written, and did you all work on it with the same intensity, the same application, or one guy specifically work on it?
It's everybody plays a big part in the band. Everyone's, especially with the sound, each 4 guys, our sound is because all 4 of us are coming together. So a lot of the times John and Jeremy will come up with a riff on a guitar, acoustic guitar or something, and then they'll bring it to the band, and then we'll start playing it together, and we decide how it's going to sound like Monster Truck. And so although it starts with them, it's really the collaboration of everybody that gives it our sound.
As soon as we listen to the first track on Train, our faces immediately melt by the power of the sound and the real vintage touch, I think so, of this 70s rock period. This vintage dimension was important for you?
I think so. I mean, that was a big inspiration of the band because we all love classic rock, especially the big bands of the 70s, Black Sabbath, Deep Purple, Led Zeppelin, all these guys, so many more, but that was our main inspiration. And so we come from a later era, and we were playing punk music and metal music and all this stuff, grunge music when we first started when we were young. So all those things come into the sound and it affects it. We can't sound like Deep Purple even if we try, because we have these other elements, but we try to sound like Deep Purple, we try to sound like Led Zeppelin, and it just comes out this way. We use a lot of the same old amplifiers and a Leslie speaker, and that has a very 70s sound to it. So it's very important to have all those parts.
Sweet Mountain Rider fastly appeared as your main track, in the promotion of the band.
Yeah.
How did you react when you realized that your music started to be spread around the world, and especially in Europe for sure?
Yeah, it was so surprising to us. I mean, we started to play at the bar down the street from our house, and then we started to play Toronto, and then as soon as we put the album out and our label had good connections in all these places, and they start showing them, and everyone became excited about it. So we got an agent and we started booking shows, and then we first came over here about 1 year ago, and the reception was really great. Everybody was liking the band, and we just thought, wow, this is really cool that we can keep coming back here, and let's really work hard at trying to build our audience here. And so that's what we're doing, and it keeps growing. So we're so excited about it, and we just hope it keeps growing.
I hope it.
Yes.
When we listen to the voice of your singer, we obviously think that think about Chad Kruger, for example, of Nickelback.
Okay.
This power intensity, the charisma global of the band.
Yeah.
Are you already fed of this comparison, or around about Nickelback?
Well, it's funny. Everybody everywhere likes to talk bad about Nickelback, and it's, though we might not listen to their music a lot, it might not influence our music. You can't talk bad about how many fans they have and how many people they entertain on every show and how many records they sell. Those are people who are enjoying the music. So if we're doing that same kind of thing and making lots of fans and playing big concerts, then compare it all day long. I mean, it's never bad to have lots of fans and to entertain people.
Definitely. As yesterday tonight you opened for Slash at the Zenith. How this common tour appeared? How did you met Slash, and how this happened?
Yes, well, we did a tour with Slash in Canada with a few US dates in 2012, and we got that tour because I guess Slash is coming to Canada, and so he says, I want a Canadian band, give me some options. And so they give him a list of bands, and he decided on Monster Truck. He said, I like the sound of these guys, let's do it. And then we do the tour, and we become friends, and they become fans of the band. And then that was at the end of his Apocalyptic Love tour, so he kind of disappeared for a while, and now he's back, and he's chosen us to play with him, so obviously he still likes us. So the same sort of thing has happened to us with Alice in Chains. They did a tour in Canada in the summer of 2013, and we got on the same way as, here's a list of Canadian bands, you guys pick. They picked us, and then we made friends, and they like us, so we've done multiple tours with them after it. So I think it's lucky because there's not as many rock bands in Canada that sound like we do, so we get it just by being Canadian and then going on tour in Canada. So we're kind of lucky in that way.
Interesting. Is Slash a source of inspiration for you?
Oh my God, absolutely. It's like Guns N' Roses is one of the classic bands who, they came from the LA scene in the 80s where it was getting really like hair metal and really glam and stuff. and they changed that. They had a harder edge and they had more badass attitude, and they did it by going back to the classics. You know, their guitar sound was a little more 70s, and they did the same kind of thing maybe, and then of course they got huge, and you're obviously doing something right when you get that huge. And then you see how he's despite all he's been through, he's still a really great guitar player. He's such a legend. He's so iconic that you have to respect him, and I mean, like, just the way that he treats people and the way the people he's hired to be around him is very inspirational. And like how you run a tour and how you keep going for such a long time. That's another thing. I mean, there's such a long list of things we take from him that that's only a start.
The last traditional question for us. Tell us one memory you have of your 2014 musical year, outside of stage or on stage.
Okay, 2014. It's hard to remember because we've been doing the same kind of touring for 2 or 3 years. We started touring with Buck Cherry, and then we came to Europe and we did our own. You know what? That's probably it. We came in March, in April, and we did UK, and then we came here, and then we did Germany, and those shows, because we were headlining for most of them, and we started to see how many people were coming out to see us. There was a lot of sold out crowds, and there was real excitement, and it was for us because they were our shows, and that was when we really started to figure out that what we're doing is good. So it was really motivational and really special, and the fact that we're coming back now to finish off the tour cycle with a big tour like this is really great. So it inspires us because we're writing our next album right now. We just want to make sure that album is as best as it can be so we can keep doing it again and creating more memories.
On se retrouve en première partie de Slash, c'est ce soir au Zénith de Paris et c'est avec Ultrarock. Brandon, thanks a lot.
Merci à vous et au revoir.